Tucker Carlson isn't just a guy with a camera in his garage anymore. In 2025, he has become something much bigger and honestly much richer. You might think you know everything about the man who was on cable news for years, but his life today looks totally different than it did even 2 years ago. Today, we are going deep. We are going to look at exactly what his children are doing right now in 2025, including the one who is working inside the White House. We will step inside his 2 huge homes, check out his strange new studio, and break down exactly how he pays for all of it. Forget what you heard on the news. This is the real story of the Carlson lifestyle. For a long time, Tucker kept his kids out of the spotlight. He said that being famous is a problem, not a gift. But his only son, Buckley Carlson, has stepped right into the center of the political world. As of January 2025, Buckley is not just watching politics from the sidelines. He is helping shape the message for the second most powerful person in the country. Buckley Carlson has been hired as the Deputy Press Secretary for Vice President J.D. Vance. This is a huge deal. It means that when you hear statements coming from the Vice President's office, Tucker Carlson's son is one of the key people helping to write and release those words. He started this job right at the beginning of the new administration in January 2025. Before he got to the White House, Buckley was working hard on Capitol Hill. He spent years working for Representative Jim Banks, a Republican from Indiana. Buckley started at the bottom as a staff assistant and press assistant way back in 2019. He didn't just walk into a top job. He had to answer phones and handle the small stuff first, but he moved up fast. By 2021, he was the communications director for Jim Banks. That is, the person in charge of talking to the media and deciding what the congressman says to the world. But it wasn't always easy. There was some serious drama a few years ago. In 2022, another Republican politician named Tom Emmer reportedly made a comment suggesting that Buckley only got his job because of who his father is. When Tucker heard about this, he was really angry. Reports say Tucker got on the phone and yelled at Emmer, defending his son's hard work. Buckley proved he could handle the heat, though he kept his head down and kept working. Now in 2025, Buckley is 28 years old and walking the halls of the Eisenhower Executive Office building every day. Buckley got married in May 2023 to a woman named Kelsey Kilgore. Kelsey is also involved in the political world as a consultant. So, you have a young power couple forming right there in D.C. It is interesting because Tucker always talks about how much he hates the Washington swamp. But his son is now a major player right in the middle of it, while Buckley is out there in the public eye. Tucker's 3 daughters, Lily, Hopi, and Dorothy, have chosen a very different path. They are incredibly private. You won't find them trying to be influencers on Instagram or starring in reality shows. This is on purpose. Tucker and his wife Susan have worked very hard to keep their girls safe from the craziness of their dads. Lily Carlson is the oldest of the group. Like her dad, she went to a really good college. She graduated from the University of Virginia. That is a top-level school, and it shows that education is a big priority in the Carlson house. Lily has kept her life almost completely offline. In a world where everyone shares everything, that is pretty rare. Then there is Hopi Carlson. She is the second daughter, and she also went to the University of Virginia. Hopi seems to be the one who really loves the outdoors, just like Tucker. We found records showing she worked as a camp counselor at a place called Fernwood Cove in Maine. She was in charge of the natural horsemanship program. That means she was teaching kids how to ride and care for horses. The youngest is Dorothy Carlson. She followed in her parents' footsteps in a very special way. She went to St. George's School in Rhode Island. This is a super fancy boarding school, but it is also the place where Tucker and his wife Susan first met when they were teenagers. It must have been wild for Dorothy to walk the same halls where her mom and dad fell in love. Dorothy is now in her early 20s in 2025, probably finishing up college or starting her first job. Tucker has said that being a parent is the most important thing in his life. He once said that when you die, the only thing that matters is if your kids are there holding your hand. He takes this job very seriously. The family is super tight. They spend a lot of time together at their homes, away from the cameras. You cannot tell the story of Tucker Carlson without talking about his wife, Susan Andrews. They have been married for over 30 years. In the world of celebrities and TV stars, A 30-year marriage is almost unheard of. Tucker and Susan have been together since they were kids. They met in 10th grade at St. George's School. And get this, Susan's dad was the headmaster of the school. That is a bold move, dating the principal's daughter. Tucker said that, when he first saw her, he thought she was the cutest 10th grader in America. He remembers she had a bounce in her walk. Susan remembers Tucker too. She said he was wearing khaki pants and a ribbon belt, which is basically the Tucker Carlson uniform even today. They got married in 1991 in the school chapel where they met. It is a real-life high school sweetheart story. Susan has been with him through everything, getting fired from CNN, getting fired from MSNBC, becoming the king of Fox News, and then getting fired from Fox News. She is the rock of the family. You might have heard that Tucker is an heir to the Swanson frozen food fortune. That is technically true, but it's complicated. Tucker's dad married Patricia Swanson, who is from the family that invented TV dinners. The Swanson Company was sold a long time ago, so while they definitely have family money and trust funds, most of the money they spend today is money Tucker made himself. Susan helps run their life behind the scenes. When Tucker launched the Tucker Carlson network, Susan was right there. She helps keep their private life private. She prefers to stay at their homes in Florida and Maine, making sure the girls in Buckley have a stable place to come back to. Now, let's look at where they live. In 2025, Tucker Carlson splits his time between two very different worlds. First, let's go south to Boca Grande, Florida. This beach town is one of the richest, most exclusive zip codes in America. Boca Grande is on Gasparilla Island. It is the kind of place where people drive golf carts instead of cars. It is old money. It is quiet, and it is expensive. Tucker bought his first house there in 2024, $2.9 million. It is a beautiful home with about 2,800 square feet and 4 bedrooms. It was built in the late 1960s, but one house wasn't enough. In 2022, Tucker and Susan bought the house right next door for $5.5 million. By buying the neighbor's house, they created a massive private compound. The combined value of these two properties today is easily over $10 million. Florida is for relaxing, Maine is for working. Tucker's favorite place on earth is a tiny town called Bryant Pond in Maine. This place is rugged. It is deep in the woods. Tucker owns a home in the town of Woodstock right near the pond. The house is an old farm-style building. Inside it is all wood panels and hunting gear. When he was at Fox News, they built him a professional TV studio inside an old barn on his property. When Fox fired him, they came and took apart the studio. So Tucker built his own. In 2025, this is where he films his show on X. The set is simple, just him, a wooden table, and a wood background. This wood-chopping look is a huge part of his brand now. Let's get to the numbers. How much is Tucker Carlson actually worth in 2025? Estimates put his net worth somewhere between $30 million and $50 million. When he was at Fox News, he was making a reported $20 million a year. When he left Fox, he launched the Tucker Carlson Network. This is a subscription service on his website. He charges fans $9 a month or $72 a year. In 2025, Tucker Carlson has pulled off something that almost nobody in media has ever done. He got fired from the biggest job in TV, and he didn't disappear. He got bigger, richer, and more powerful.